In today's tutorial, let's learn how to do the casual cool shawl, and this is really cool. So let's do this next. Welcome back to the Crochet Crowd as well as Yarnspirations.com. In today's tutorial we're going to explore the casual cool shawl. I actually did mine in 2 evenings, if you can imagine, and it turns out really cool. The striping is really neat, and you know what's even more fabulous about this pattern? We're going to start off on the top, but if you want to make this much longer on you, you can, because the pattern basically goes as long as you want to go. The only difference is if you change the size of your pattern, you're going to change the yarn quantities. What those quantities are, well, you have to figure that out on your own. So within today's pattern we're going to be using the Peyton's Croy socks, and I've used FX for my particular samples because that's why you can kind of see the FX yarn going here, and it's really neat. So I chose this beautiful blue, and what is this blue today? It is Casual Colors. It's called Casual Colors, and I know this one is the Cowboy, and so basically that's the kind of look that we're going for. Within today's pattern there is also a diagram key that we can be able to follow. So this is just basically we're gonna start on the middle and see it's just infinity on how far you can go. So if you just want to keep going and going and going, and the neat thing about this whole pattern too is that it's all in groups of 2. So when you see a stripe, it's actually 2 lines of the diagram in order to make that stripe. So you only have to change color, I guess, every 3rd line, is that right? So 2 lines are the same and then you change color, and then those 2 lines are the same and then you change color again. So it's just kind of really easy, and then the bottom has a stitching diagram on what you need to do for the fringe, and of course we're gonna cover that today in today's tutorial. So I'm gonna get you started, and then once you get started beyond the neck part, then basically it's all really easy, and then we're gonna take you through the side and what we need to do to clean up the sides here, and then we're gonna do the fringing that'll appear on the edge. So in today's tutorial you're going to need the Peyton's Croy socks. It does take 6 balls of yarn, 3 balls of one color, 3 balls of another if you want to do the striping effect. Again, the colors and choices are completely up to you. The most fabulous thing about this particular pattern is if you change the yarn, you can change the hook size to match the yarn, and you will still have pretty much a great shawl to work with. So it's a really good foundation shawl in order for really beginners to begin to be successful. So without further ado, let's get started right now. So let's begin with the slip knot, and I always do a smaller version on tutorial usually, but in this case I'm not going to. I'm going to get you started just exactly the size that you're going to need. So there is only one size for this. So we need to do a chain of 68. Remember that the slip knot that you started with never counts as 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and go all the way to 68, and I'll meet you back here in just a moment. So I now have my 68 on here, and the next part of this tutorial is that I'm going to be taking you through on the first line, and the first line is basically going to establish the pattern. So when you're going to look at the diagram just like so, you can always see that the corners are always in the same spot, but it's how we determine this very first row on where those corners are going to be. So this is probably the most critical point of this whole entire shawl in order to get the sizing to be correct for you. So let's start off our first one. We're gonna go 5th chain from the hook as a double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we go to the 5th, and I'll explain why we're going to the 5th in just a moment. So wrap the hook first and double crochet into the 5th. The reason why is that all of the edges have 1 double crochet, chain 1, and 1 double crochet. So by going into the 5th, you've actually created your double crochet chain 1 space that you need before doing the next double crochet into the same spot. Hopefully that makes sense to you. We are now going to double crochet into the next 10 chains. So let's go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10. So this is where in the next part of this we're going to do our first bend corner. So let's begin to show you how to do that. So in the next stitch what we have to do is we have to put a double crochet into the next chain there, double crochet chain 1 and double crochet into the same chain, and that creates your bend. Now what we're going to do then is in the next 10 stitch chains we're gonna do 1 double crochet once again. So okay, so the back part of the neck as we go, let me count this out and I'll explain. So 2 2 2 2 2, okay, so we got 3 and we got 4 and 5, we have 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So in the next stitch then we have to then start turning again. So the next stitch is gonna be 1 double crochet, chain 1 and 1 double crochet, but do not restart once again. I need to show you something because the next part of this, so in actual fact you have one side here right where my fingers are. Here's another side, and now we're gonna go down the back side. Let me show you what that looks like. When I look at this, we have 10 double crochets in between the corner spots, 10 in between here. This one here in the back is different. It's the only one that's different. So there's 10 here and 10 here. So the one on the back actually has 18 double crochets that span across. So the back of your neck is wider than it is in the turning points over here, and we have to watch for that. So let's pick up our work and start again. So when I let you off we did a corner, so we did double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. So now for the next 18 we're just gonna double crochet. We're gonna move down the back of the neck. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. That's 5. We have 6 and 7, 8. We have 9 and 10. We have 11 and 12. We have 13. We have 14, 15, 16. Well, that was 16 that fell out, so 16, 17 and 18. So now the back of the neck is done, so that I have my 18. So the very next stitch is gonna be another turning point. So it's gonna be a double crochet followed by a chain 1, double crochet into the same chain. Now this is just gonna repeat exactly what we did over in these two sections over here. So the next 10 is going to be double crochet. So 1 and 2 and 3 and we got 4, 5, we have 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Okay, so the next one is the final corner. So the next one will be a double crochet followed by a chain 1 and double crochet into the same chain. So let's then, we're gonna go along this side of the last section once again. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. and look at that, you've got one stitch left. What do you think is in it? Well, the last stitch is the final, so it's going to be a double crochet followed by a chain 1 and double crochet into the same one. So that's it would be how you finish it. So now I've just done the whole neck area, and it doesn't look like much now, but the shape will then become very obvious in the next one. Let me take you through the next row, which will be the same all the way through until you get to the striping conclusion of this, and then we move on to the other parts of this tutorial. So let's turn and we're gonna go for row number 2. Now these rows are always the same. The only difference is that we change color every time there's 2. So this is blue now, it will do another blue, and then we'll change color and do another color for 2, and then we'll bring back to blue for another 2 rows. Hopefully that makes sense to you. So the starting is always going to be the same. So whenever you start, no matter what row you're on, you're always going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're always gonna come into this chain 1 space, the very first one, and double crochet. This here is what makes it grow outward. Okay, so once you have that done, you are then going to double crochet into each one of the double crochets that you run into until you get to the first or to the next turning point. Okay, so I'm not even bothering to count. You can if you want to, but I don't see the point of doing it. But you're just gonna keep double crocheting until you get into that other one that's gonna turn. Okay, and it's kind of obvious to you in the chain. Okay, and I'll show you how to do that. So we just have to make sure that that turning chain is always going to be the same point. And so we just look for the clues. So you could count, but why bother? Okay, I'm looking for it. See, it's right there. There's 2 into the 1. Okay, so my next one, you see that there's 2 coming into 1, so I'm going to double crochet over the first one, and now the chain 1 space that is in between, I'm going to put in double crochet right into the chain 1 space, followed by a chain 1 and double crochet into the same chain 1 space. Okay, and that keeps that corner the same. So you're just gonna come into your next one and just double crochet again until you get to the next turning spot. So the key element is never to overlook these turning spots. As it gets bigger, the corners look more and more obvious, but right at these stages right now, you really have to look for that in order to maintain the consistency. This project goes quicker than you may think too, which is kind of the neat thing to it. Okay, I'm looking for the next turning spot. It's right here. You can see the 2 in there. Okay, so there is my next one here. You see the 2, so I've already put 1 into the first one. Now I'm into the in between the chain 1 space for a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the chain 1 space, and then start up on the other side. So just again double crochet. So do that same thing, and I'm gonna meet you at the end of the line to show you how to finish one of these, because it's kind of unusual. It's how to finish the row. So I'm just coming up close to the end of the row, and remember you have to make sure you do your bending. Okay, so you're turning with your V stitches. So basically we're just coming into the very end, and how I finished actually I wasn't expecting it. So, and it works out to be fine anyway, so it's just, you know, one of those things in life. So I'm looking for the chain 1 space. You really don't see it because you've done a chain 4. So that's what kind of confused me right off the bat. But the last space here, you were going to do it like it's a turning corner. So you're gonna do a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Just like so. And then this is the second line of the same color. So at this point I would just then trim my yarn, and then I would just start my next one going up right at this spot, and let me show you how to do that. So let's assume that I've trimmed my yarn and bringing it back on. So when you go to start, you're going to immediately chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Coming into the chain 1 space, put in a double crochet just like you would. See, and you can see it's already starting to come out on an angle. And then you just double crochet all the way across, except for when you hit your bending spots. Again, you want to maintain that, so the right in between is going to get a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and you will continue to do that until you get to the final that you need in order to get all the way down to the bottom. Okay, so this is kind of my sample that I've been working with already, and you can see it turns out really quite nice. You can see the bending in it as well. Isn't that fabulous? And so at this point I've already done the tutorial for doing the base area, so we're going to be doing some fringing at the end, and then we're just gonna go along the edge. So without further ado, let's move ahead in this tutorial. So you'll have to have a few hours maybe to get to this far, but once you get there, just join me back here and I'll show you how to do the remainder of the finishing techniques that you're going to need for this particular project. So here's what it looks like. I'm gonna put a photo on the screen so you can see more clearly the striping and how many that you need to do in order to kind of match the pattern. Again, the sizing is completely up to you, so if you want to make it bigger or smaller, that's completely your business. But right now we're going to move forward in this tutorial and we're going to do the side edging, and obviously you have two edges, so you have this one here and then just follow it around and you have the other one. Let me show you how to do that, and then I'm gonna show you how to do the bottom fringing because I still have that to do next. So let's begin to do the side edging. So using the same size crochet hook, 4mm size G, we're just gonna create a slip knot using the B color yarn. In this case for me it is the cowboy color of the Crochet FX sock yarn. So what we want to do is I'm gonna start off in the bottom, just start off right in the chain itself, and all we just need to do is single crochet evenly all the way back up to the other side. So just follow it all the way to the other side and then fasten off, and we want to do that on both sides as well. So what I would have a habit of doing right now if I were you and you were me, I'm just gonna keep talking, reset myself, but what I would do is get in the habit of sticking your hook into the similar spots so that when you do the side edging on the other side, because they are going to be probably visible, you want them to be kind of equal as well. So hopefully that makes any sense. So let's just join it and bring it through. Okay, and now I want to chain one first, and then I'm just going to single crochet, and I'm just gonna go around the post itself, and it says just to single crochet evenly going back up the other side. So I'm gonna put 2 into that one, so it's just like a side post. Here's the next post, you can see it right in front of you there. I'm gonna put 2 into there, and then I'm just gonna jump over and go to the next post and 2 into there. And so you can decide what works for you and how you want it to look, but this is just very simple. So I'm just gonna single crochet equally on the front side edges, just like so. So when you do that, to get all the way to the top, then fasten off, weaving your ends, and then we're going to cover doing the base fringing of the frills that are kind of hanging as you see in the model's photo. So I'm just coming up, and this is the first side that I'm doing, and then I'm going to fasten off and do the other side, and I'm not gonna show you the other side because the fact is it's the same stuff. So when you get to all the way to the top, you're just gonna go into your last post, just equally do it. I always get concerned when it says to always put single crochets equally across because sometimes it doesn't seem to be so equal. So I'm coming up and I'll do my very last one, and again I'm only gonna put 2 in there because that's what I've been doing all the rest of it, and then I'm just going to fasten off. So I'm just gonna join it to a chain, pull through and through, and then I'm just gonna take my scissors and I'm gonna cut that. And then with the darning needle I'm just going to just use this strand here, put my darning needle onto it. I always leave my old string on a darning needle so I never lose it on my desk. It's kind of maybe it's a bad habit or being lazy, but it's just an easy way to do it. Okay, so we're gonna go into the stitch, okay, just right underneath, just gliding it. See how sharp my needle is? I really wanted to catch into the fibers, and I want to go in 3 directions. So that was 1, coming back in the other direction for 2, making sure it's not the exact same path in the fibers, and then go back for a 3rd time. Your project can never stretch 3 ways at one time, therefore it will never fall out on you. Once you get that in there, and then just weave off your ends. Okay, so do the other side and we'll cover the fringing next. For the next part of this tutorial we're going to start doing the fringing, and you can see it has these kind of dangly thingies hanging, and it's really quite easy. And the fabulous thing about this whole pattern, as we've talked about it in the beginning, is that there is a stitch tutorial or stitch diagram just like this. So we're gonna follow the same concept, and it's actually going to be doing a 3 double crochet cluster. That's what these special shapes are. So if you don't know what's here, just look for the diagram key, and basically you should be able to actually follow this without having to read the instructions, but again that's completely up to you. So let's review on how to do that next. So let's begin to do the fringing. I want to start off with the slip knot, and I want to join it to the beginning. Okay, and this is where I fastened off the last color. So this is exactly where I fastened off, and I'm gonna go in this direction and we're gonna fasten on my cowboy color, which is color B in my case. It could be a different color for you. So I'm gonna fasten on, and then it says to chain 1, and then it says single crochet in the first double crochet, which is where I fastened on. And now it says to chain 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. We're now going to do a 3 double crochet cluster, and then follow with a half double crochet. So we want to count to the 4th stitch back. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that's exactly where we want to go. So we want to wrap our hook first, and we want to insert into the 4th and pull up and pull through 2, and let's wrap our hook again, going into the same chain, pull through 2, wrapping again, going into the same chain, pull through 2, and now that you have 4 loops on your hook, wrap and pull through all 4, and then do a half double crochet into the same stitch, just like so. Now as per the instructions, we then have to work our way back down to the chain, or back down to the here, okay, with slip stitching. So we're just gonna slip all the way back down. So this is gonna create those danglies, and we're gonna review that again coming up in just a moment. So I'm just slip stitching down the chain back to where I was, just like so. So now that I'm back down, let's see what else is being asked for in the instructions. So coming back down on here, we just have to single crochet into the next 4 double crochets. Okay, so there's 4 double crochets that separate these dangly things. So that was 3 and 4. Now let's review on how to do this piece once again. So we're gonna chain 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Count back to the 4th. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over and go into the 4th chain from the hook, pull through 2. Do it again. So yarn over, same chain, pull through 2, and hold. Okay, yarn over, same chain, pull through 2, and hold. Now that you have your 4 loops, once again yarn over, pull through all 4, and then half double crochet into the same chain. And now slip stitch back all the way back to the blue once again. So just go down the chain nice and equal. And if you steam this project at the end, these danglies will follow nicely for you. Once you get the last chain in, you're then gonna double crochet, or sorry, single crochet into the next 4 double crochets. Okay, once you do your 4, let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 4 chain back, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over, go through into the chain, pull through 2, and hold. Yarn over, go into the same chain, pull through 2, and hold. Yarn over, same chain, pull through 2, and hold. Okay, now you have your 4 loops. Yarn over, pull through all 4, half double crochet into the same chain, just like so, and now you're going to slip stitch all the way back to the start again. So I'm not even counting, I'm just slip stitching down. I don't see the point to count. You can count as per the instructions, but to me it just seems like when you run out of chains, then you stop, right? And you stop right above the single crochet that you had on the line. So then once you got back down, single crochet for the next 4 double crochets that you run into. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Continue that same patterning going all the way across the base. It'll take you a little bit of time, but then you'll have these dangly things all happening at the same time as well. So here's where I'm going to leave you on this project. Enjoyed this tutorial. By the time that I get this up online, I will have this sample completely done, and you can be able to see exactly what I've done today. Till next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of the Crochet Crowd as well as Yarnspirations.com. Have a great day, and we'll see you.